Okay, by now you probably should know what we're doing. If you haven't dealt with a drill before, then I'm going to need you to come talk to me, and then we'll you know, I'll get you up to speed pretty quick. But what we're going to use today in your lab is this. This is called a punch. And what it does is it punches. So when you put it down and you push on something, it'll make a little clink, and the hammer in here will slip off a little ledge and poof, make a little divot in the metal. So now the divots aren't going to be able to be seen unless you put a bunch in there. So what you're going to do is when you find where you need that divot, you're going to keep pushing it about 10 times, okay? Now, eventually, the little ledge on there of the little hammer is going to get wore out, and it kind of spins a little bit. So what you'll do is, if it stops popping, is you'll open this up, and now usually it's lefty-loosey and righty-tighty, but it's really backwards here. So you got a spring that doesn't go out, but this little hammer, like those chamfers right there, they wear out. So what you'll do is, you don't have to take it all the way apart. Remember, it's not lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, but you may need to loosen it a little bit, turn this and tighten it back down, and then go back to where you had your little divot. See, that's what's going to happen whenever it's not in the right spot. It's not popping. So I'm going to turn it again, turn it back down, and hopefully get a smooth edge. All right, so if this doesn't work by the time y'all get here, I will buy a new one of these. But that's how you fix them until they're not fixable anymore. So let's do this one more time. Kind of spin it around so that we get a non-messed up edge. And you're not really going to be able to see it. It's just kind of weird. Tighten it back down. Okay. So let me know if this goes out. If it goes out, then what I want you to do, if I didn't buy another one, is I'll get another one that you'll hit with a hammer. Okay? So that's how you're going to use that. Now, you're going to go over to the stack, and you're going to find the one that had your name on it. Okay? So Danny's going to pick up this one that says Danny. And he's going to go over here. And if Danny had a 3-foot one, he's going to get the 3-foot template that we made. Now, Danny did exemplary, a bang-up job on getting it exactly 3 feet. Some of y'all got it a 16th off in either direction. You got to realize that if one's a 16th too long and one's a 16th too short, then those holes, when we try to pin them, are going to be an 1/8 off. Well, that's going to make it so our stuff ain't parallel, and it's not going to work right. It'll work, but it's not going to be our kind of engineering. All right, so we made a template. Now, no matter if your square piece is a little bit too long or a little bit too short, what you're going to do is you're going to take your template. Where did we put the templates? Is it on there already? Okay, so it was hidden. You're going to take your square piece and you're going to take your template made out of good Alabama steel. And then there's a little hole here and there's a little hole here. All right? And surely to goodness they're exactly right. But these are measured even if yours is not. So you're not going to be able to necessarily get it flush on both edges, okay? You want to get this dead on flush on this edge, okay? And then if yours is a little bit too long, it'll be more out this side. If it's a little bit too short, it won't be. All right, that doesn't matter. What matters is that we consistently get the spacing right, okay? So if you have a little bit extra over here, but the holes are right, we're good, okay? So to make that happen, only square up one side. Then you'll take some vice grips and you'll clamp that, okay? Cool? Now, do not drill this yet. We're just using this table to as a support. We've got this little block right here that's working as our stop piece. You're just going to hold it right here, and you're going to go into that hole, and you're going to pop it. If this doesn't work right now, then I will just pretend to pop it. Do not drill through this hole because we do not want it wallered out, okay? We want it to be exactly the size so that your punch is punching in the same spot every time, okay? And you're going to do this about 10 times to get a deep enough divot. I don't even know how many times I've done it. And then do not take this off. If you take this off, don't take it off, okay? Then you're going to go to this side. And now, since we did not move our template, it doesn't matter if this is a little bit longer or a little bit short. Our holes are exactly the same distance apart as everybody else's. Cool? Cool. All right, so we're going to do this 10 times. All right, and since we didn't use a drill, that hole is going to stay the same size for everybody. Then, before we drill, we're going to look at our handiwork, and we're going to see that we can see a divot, okay? All right, then we're going to take it and flip it so that this is on the bottom. And if you drop it, don't worry, because some of the best people in the world have dropped this before, like right then. All right, so this is going to go on the bottom. If you only turn it one time, you're going to have holes in stupid places. We're going to turn it 2 times, so 180 degrees. Now, it's important that you put the same side that you had flush right here. So we're going to flush up this side, okay? Now, we've got a little bit of a cut at an angle here, but this wasn't Danny, so don't blame Danny. I won't tell you who this is. But just make sure it's flush up against here. We're going to drill these out just a little bit more than what they need to be so that we have a little wiggle room, but not a lot. You're going to flush it up and you're going to clamp again, okay? Now, we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to put it up against here so we have something to hold on to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to go over here, hold it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to look at our handiwork. We'll take this and we'll put it back on the wall where it was. And we will check. We've got a divot there. We've got a divot there. Like we've got some scratches. Okay. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come to the drill press that we're already at. Okay. Now this moves a little bit, but it's not going to kick out. This spins if we're looking down at it clockwise. All right. You want something in between you and the piece if it's going to start spinning this way. Okay. Because although this doesn't have a lot of torque, if it was up against your body, it might just give you a puncture wound. If you got a piece of metal just going crazy, it can slice straight through your gut, and I'm going to have a lot of paperwork to do. I don't want to do paperwork. I don't want you getting hurt, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this down, and you can use this this milling tray right here to kind of line up your drill, okay? So go, and you probably ain't gonna have to use this too much. You can just kind of slide it back and forth, but what we'll do is we'll get it so that the tip of that bit is right in your divot, Okay? Are we good there? All right. We're going to hold and we're going to recheck. See, my divot is way off now. So I'm going to move it a little bit. Take your time on this. We're making history right now. I know that it's at the same spot. If I don't move it, I can turn it on. Now, I got a chair because I'm lazy. Don't use a chair. You just squat and then stand up because you don't want to be face to face with that. This button is kind of hard to press. You will press it. You'll go down slowly. Actually, what we're about to do is we're going to go down right here so I don't have so far to go down on, okay? So it'll probably still be right there by the time you get to it. All right, now I've got to realign this. All right, now this has some play in it, so pull it all the way back so that the play doesn't affect it, okay? And then, we dead on?
No.
No?
Come back to you, toward you a little bit.
Back this way? That way?
Right there, yeah.
All right, and then we need to look. I'm fantastic, and it's taken me a little bit of time to do this. Oops, I went down too far on here. Am I going the wrong way? Yes. Nope. Parker's going to pull it up. All right, now bring it down a little bit more. A little bit more. Right there. All right, so we got it. The weight of it kind of lifted up a little bit. Okay, so we've got some play back and forth on here. So basically, you're just going to want to watch it, make sure that it's still going in that hole. Then we'll turn it on. Now, it doesn't take a lot of pressure. Like, this is a high torque thing, a low speed thing. Now, these drill bits are going to be drilling a bunch. You want to put a little bit of oil on each hole, especially if you do a bigger hole, because what happens is if you don't put oil on it, it's not lubricated and it's not going to, now before you go grab it, turn it off. The off is a little bit harder than the on. Now, since you got gloves on, you can wipe it. We've got a pilot hole. Now, I'm not going to make you go and knock them down because we're going to come back and measure them. And people who are wanting to put more time into the robot, like our teams, like they'll go in and make sure. The reason we're doing this small of a hole is if it's just a little bit off, we can compensate for that. But we need people really paying attention to it. So during a lab, I don't necessarily want you having to spend all that time like, making new holes. Worst case scenario, we'll flip it 90 degrees and make a new hole if it's just way off, okay? If we go ahead and mill out the whole hole, then we wasted a piece of metal. All right, so you're gonna go through and put all 4 of those holes in, okay? Like, since you use the template to punch it, your little divot is gonna tell you exactly where it should go, okay? So you'll grab a 3-footer or a 4-footer, depending on if you have a 3-foot or a 4-foot, okay? And if you grab the wrong one, it's either going to be way too short or way too long, unless you cut yours way too short or way too long, okay? So you're going to do those 4 holes, and then you're going to go and right by the hole, initial it, okay? Like if you're interested in, getting these bored out and helping us there, we're going to need some help, but it's going to be a lot more measuring to make sure that these are exactly where they need to be. But the lab that we're doing right now is going to make it easier. Instead of one person doing all of these pilot holes, you're going to do your own. And then everybody, even if they're not on a team, get to say, hey, that part of that leg right there, I did everything to, okay? So once you're done with all 4 holes, put them back in the stack And come get me or Ashley, and we got another little fun thing for you to do. Now, to prove that you watch this, what you're going to do is, if I think that you didn't watch this, then I'm going to come and ask you what the weather is like in Europe. And if you don't tell me, well, the rain in Spain is wet, then I'm going to know that you didn't watch this whole video, okay? So, I said watch the whole video if you didn't. Now, if you did watch the whole video, then, you know, you'll at least know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so have a good one. See you next week.